In Ohio, looking at House District 64, this one's particularly interesting because our numbers show D+6 likely, right? And if you look at who votes in these primaries here, there's some Republicans, but the Democrats outnumber. This district is very hard to overcome for the minority party. But if you look at it, 64 is currently in Republican hands. In 22, Nick just won it by a hair. Then up in 24, he killed it. And this is the opposite of what we would expect to see, right? A lot of what we talk about here is that these numbers are really just a jumping off point, and it's up to the candidate to make the real difference. Nick has made such a difference, in fact, that in 2026, there's no Democrat candidate running against him.
Yeah, so I think this is where, when you look at these numbers, they are just a starting point. They're a jumping off point. Structurally, this appears to lean Democrat, but a theme that we have talked about many times is that for a candidate who is willing to put in the work, these are just indicators of where you may need to deploy your strategies in order to run an effective campaign. Because it's not just hard work, it's effective work. And that is clearly what he was able to do by just a hair. Yeah. I think, what was it, like 800 votes? But a win is a win. But not to just rest on your laurels in terms of what he did in his campaign. He has now gone on to show that in the legislature, he is extremely effective, such that these numbers in a little bit become meaningless. I think the big takeaway is these numbers are just indicators, and effective people can overcome these types of structural types of issues.
You're exactly right. We looked up their campaign Facebooks and Instagrams, and his Democratic opponent back from 22 had a few posts, a couple things showing her doing this or that or attending some event. And his was absolutely packed day after day of events he was attending, voters he was talking to, just a reminder that, today was the 4th of July. He was on top of it. He was really putting in the effort. And, he should be still worried. Except in 2026, he doesn't have to be, because he worked so hard, because he won the love of these independent voters, because he has aligned so well with the district, and there was not enough fire behind any opposition to get them on the ballot. And, something like that is really, really rare.
Yeah, so, in the execution of his service as a public servant, has been able to maintain that trust from that group of voters, such that he doesn't necessarily have to go through that campaign crucible again, but has proven himself.
Yeah, you know how I love Sun Tzu, and there's a Sun Tzu quote that goes, "Supreme excellence isn't winning every battle. It's in not having to fight those battles to win." Obviously, I'm paraphrasing here. But the fact is that he's done such an effective job in the last couple elections. There's no need for him to fight a battle. And, we talk about it here, but these campaigns, they take time, they take effort, they take money. And it's so much better not to have to spend that time, effort, and money if you don't have to. And it really goes to show that being effective, like it's a silly thing because, we're so focused on campaigns, but, it really is, like you say, about being a legislator, being somebody who the people like, so as you can overcome that huge deficit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we do get oftentimes caught up with, is this person Republican? Is this person a Democrat? What little tiny box do they fit in? And are they always going to operate in the same box? But in a more localized election, there is a big cohort of voters who's looking for the effective persons who's going to serve their community, and being able to run that effective campaign to show you are that person through your hard work, and then to be able to go into the legislature and show that accountability. I mean, listen, I get I love competition in campaigns from the standpoint that I think it's important for public servants to have to go, in a sense, to remind themselves. I think there are public servants who they get a little fat and happy without competitive races after a while and can lose sight of what happens in their local district. I don't believe that's what is happening here. I think this is definitely an effective person who is looking out for his district and is being entrusted again by his constituents because of his hard work.
Yeah, well said. I really like that. And if you want to see one of these for your district, head on over to Bootstrap Office, scroll down, and fill this out. Ryan and I will get an email, and we'll contact you super shortly.
Super shortly. Yeah. Check it out.